all, it's Shelly with Strategic Sales Advisors. And this week I want to start a new series tied to sales strategy, specifically talking about, because it's budget season at the time that I'm recording this, for a lot of companies and organizations, is how can you truly budget without having a strategy on how you're going to hit your numbers going into the next year, right? That budget season, we all start to look at things. We start to hopefully focus on how are we going to grow. You know, here's where we are today. Here's what we feel like we're going to finish off this year at. And here's where we want to grow to in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, especially if you've set a vision and you have a plan going forward. So there's a couple of areas that I want to talk about in that. You need to understand that in that revenue and profit, is it growth? You know, and I think for a lot of companies in the past, maybe they haven't thought about that. You know, they just want to get through the year, especially in the small to mid-sized companies. You want to get through the year. You want to be successful. And if you get into next year, a lot of times people are like, great, let's do a little bit better than we did this year. And we need to be defining what that is. And that's part of the budget and part of strategy or strategic goals. We need to figure out how are we going to get there, right? So there's really 4 general areas that are tied to growth strategy. And that's what I want to talk about this week. We're going to talk about market penetration, product development, market development, and diversification. So let's start with the first one, and the one chances are that's the first that you will tackle when we start to talk growth strategy, and that's market penetration. Market penetration is expanding your share of an existing market with the existing solutions that you currently have, whether that's your existing product or service lines. And where we see this being very impactful is in newer companies or organizations. So let's say that our company is based in Houston, Texas, and we've been in the market for a little while. We've uncovered, we know who our ideal client is for our product or service, and we've uncovered a lot of that, but we haven't necessarily uncovered all of the opportunity yet in the market. Growth would be focused very much in this type of a strategy on uncovering that entire market, uncovering and talking to all of those potential clients, and really understanding from a total account management, what are their needs, and do you have the solutions that can help them, right? This is not necessarily focused in on lowering price, but that might be a situation in an oppressed market where you might need to do that. I hate talking price. I hate it commoditizing our product or service, but it is something that you could potentially look at from a perspective of, what's our competition doing out there in this space? Are we over or underpriced? And do we need to be, focused in on that from a growth strategy? So a lot of people will focus in on market penetration and say, well, we'll drop our price, we'll go after more clients, and that'll get us to where we want to get at the end of the day. Hopefully you don't have to do that. A lot of times people don't have any marketing efforts, and let's put some marketing in place, and that will help us get to that top of funnel business, right? Where they can funnel down to sales, those warm leads, and then sales can then close those lead opportunities and get that new business coming in the door. The second area I want to talk about is product development. And product, solution, however you want to call it, whether you have a product or you have a service. This is really focused in on creating new solutions to serve an existing market. So again, going back to the Houston example, I now have tackled it. I have all of the business currently that I can get in my market from the customers that I've identified that need my resources, right? That need my product or my service. Yes, there are continual people that will move into a market, so there are some market penetration that will grow. But really, this focus is on creating that new solution. Okay, I know everything in Houston. We've got that managed. We have a process in place for those new, the new customers that come into the marketplace. But now I want to build a new solution out there. And what this does is it actually gives you an opportunity to expand the revenue, that you're generating from existing customers, but also to go after new customers that are out there. So again, in my business, my focus as a consultant in sales is on how do I help companies and organizations, usually in that small to mid-sized business category, build their sales infrastructure, understand how they have the right processes, the right strategies, the right, data and analysis, all of that in place, the right people in place, so that they can maximize their revenue. And in order for me to do that, a company tends to need to be to that 3 to 5 million in revenue stage before they can, afford, frankly, a consultant to come in and spend time with them to build that out. But there's still a need in smaller companies and in solopreneurs. So what I did is I started to look at that and say, all right, I know who that customer is for my existing services, but there's a customer space out there from a solution development, from that product development stage, where I could help more people do this, but on a smaller scale, right? On a group scale where I'm doing less of the heavy lifting, right? That's the cost that comes with having someone like me come in and give them the tools and resources to do the lifting themselves. A la build a course where I can teach others how to build their whole infrastructure themselves. And that was something that I looked at and said, this helps me from a strategic growth perspective, grow my business. A lot of companies will do that. The third area I want to talk about is market development. We talked about this, right? So this is, again, introducing your existing solutions, your existing product or service into new markets. So again, we have managed the Houston market in our example. We know everything, and we know we have a great product or solution. So now we want to tackle another market. And so we start to focus on, all right, we have Houston managed. Now let's pivot and look at Austin, right? Not too far away, a few hours by car. So a market that's manageable to tackle. And so in this case, you're saying, I know my existing client, I know what they need from us. Now let's go find those types of clients in a new market area. Now, I'm using cities as markets, but markets can actually be categorized in that space by demographic, like cities, regions, or it could be specific market segments, right? You could have broken down your customer profile into different people or entities that need your tools or resources. I see that a lot, right? Where maybe you provide some type of software service that could benefit financial clients, that could benefit mortgage clients, and so you've broken that down, and maybe you initially only focused on the financial clients, right, for that software, but you know that mortgage clients could, and so now that you've tackled that first one and you've gotten it under control, now you're looking at the next market, which is maybe that mortgage space. Does that make sense? I hope that does. The last area I want to talk about from a strategic growth area, an area where you can go after your new growth, is diversification, right? So this fourth area. And again, diversification is creating a new solution for a new market, right? So we are diversifying what we do. That could be through acquisition, right? Again, going back to software solutions example, let's say we do provide that software solution for the financial and the mortgage, but we know that there is tied to the mortgage and the financial, there are the development space. And we know that we can build a tool for the development space for, residential and commercial development that will also work in our same market. Right? So we develop that, and it's sort of a blend of product development and market development together, if you think about it that way. So you're kind of blending two areas. But if you have done all the other three, if you have penetrated your existing market, you have, developed new solutions, and you've developed new markets, really getting down into more advanced companies or companies that have been around longer, the diversification is that space where then you can start to plan your strategic growth. Diversification is a high risk, high reward scenario. Again, you are tackling two unknowns at the same time. We go back to the Houston-Austin example. We've managed Houston, now we've managed Austin. We've covered what we can in both of those with our existing. Now we want to tackle Dallas, but we know if we're going to tackle Dallas, we need a new product to tackle Dallas, right? So now you're going completely all in that type of a space. So really, again, going back to this, I hope you're understanding as we're starting to talk about putting a sales strategy, putting a strategy in place to grow, to make sure that you're hitting those budgeted numbers, that you're looking at what does that growth trajectory look like for your company next year, the year after, beyond, that we are starting to have a conversation around not just how we're going to grow, but the areas and the spaces that we need to focus on in our company. You're not going to focus on all four. You're not going to tackle market penetration, product or solution development, market development, and diversification all at the same time. These are all going to be different stages within your company or organization, and you might bounce into them here and there over the years. But this is that first conversation that we need to get into to grow our business. I hope this helped a little bit. I hope that this is starting to put you in a mindset of growth within your organization. If this is something that sounds interesting to you, if you got something out of this, I hope, one, you'll share that with me in the comments. Two, I hope that you will also subscribe to this channel and we can come back here on a weekly basis and start having conversations around how do we get you guys to that next level or layer? How do we take your business to that next step? So thanks guys for joining me, and we'll see you guys next week.